That's a video we should have done probably 2 years ago. In fact, the pilot episode of the Tube Stories was about the shapes. And tonight we're doing it again, but more seriously. We're going to go through the basic light painting shapes that we're doing. Of course, it's endless, you can do so many different things, but there are a few basic ones and some variations of that. So I'll try to be as precise as possible.
A lot of times when we do workshops or when we shoot with people, we've been told, hey, well, it's really helpful to actually see Eric doing it, like the way he moves, then because it becomes less abstract, so you can actually associate a movement with a final image. So yeah, that's what we're gonna try to do.
The first shape is the circle, which we explained in depth in the previous video. But starting from a circle, you can do many variations. And here are two of them. Circle plus twirl. After completing a regular circle shape, you come back in the same trace, quarter of a circle, and draw a side line going out of the shape while rotating your wrist to create a twirl effect. To create more light in front of the subject, you can apply the same principle. You draw the horizontal line on a slight diagonal to go in a bit in front of the subject. In those cases, the side on which you draw the twirl should be determined by your composition. In other words, you want to do the twirl on the side of your framing where the empty space is. The twirl can also be done towards the sky if it fits better your composition. We usually use that option when we shoot with a straight Milky Way. The double circle. Once again, you start by completing a regular circle. Then you draw a second one a bit bigger than the first. It's a bit trickier because it involves doing a constant movement while moving the position of your whole arm. Usually the second circle is completed faster to keep everything sharp. The door. The door is probably one of the simplest shapes to create. Hold the tube parallel to the ground or in a slight diagonal above the head of your subject. Place it in order to have your subject approximately in the middle of it, and then trace a line starting up and going down to the ground. This shape will hide your feet most of the time. The candle. There are many variations of this shape, but here's the principle. Holding the tube in a diagonal, with its base at the height of your subject's head, trace a line going down in a small diagonal, curved or not. It can end right there, or you can add other lines to finish the shape the way you like it. The flower. Start holding the tube up in a slight diagonal. As you go down, keeping the base of the tube moving on a central line, you move the upper part from side to side, like a wiper, increasing the width of the movement each time. We usually don't go over 45 degrees until the last two arcs, which you can bring to the ground or not, depending on how you feel. The deep flower. Similar principle as the flower, you draw arcs of circle from up to down, keeping the base of your tube following a central line. The main differences are that the arcs of circle will be much bigger than the previous shape, and the hand is barely moving down. The lateral shape. Eric usually creates those shapes following a diagonal from one side to the other, depending on the framing and my pose. You can use this shape to light up your subject easily by passing in front of the person on either side during the movement. The spiral. Holding the tube in a slight diagonal, the upper part of the tube towards the camera, draw a spiral going down and away from the subject. It's one of the only shapes where we need to walk back while moving the tubes, meaning we don't do that shooting at a cliff. Okay, so a question that is often asked is how does Eric do to decide which shape he's going to do?
Here's the answer.
Okay, more seriously, how do we do?
So I'm very lucky. Kim is a professional contemporary dancer, and I'm not good at suggesting poses. She does the work. So she's taking a pose, and based on what she's doing, I'm going to do the movement behind her. So most of the time, it's really about the way she's posing that I'm going to figure out what shape I'm going to do.
Yeah, and of course, Eric gives me some indications. For instance, like one super important thing is where are the empty spaces. So I have an idea of the framing, and I can be conscious of what I'm going to do according to the composition.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So that was the basic shapes that we do, but there are so many other options. So and variables of those shapes. So don't hesitate to try something new, try something completely different, and just share what you